Hey guys, it's the Prez. It's Wednesday. You're watching Morning Joe and the Pro, and we've got a name change coming. Today's guests, back by popular demand, the legend himself, Dave Cokin, and of course, Rob Veno from sportsmemo.com. What are we going to do today? We're going to take a look at one college football game, the LSU-Texas game. Then we're going to jump into two baseball games, both meaningful ones, and we're going to end the show with two NFL games. We're going to take them all apart. We're going to do it in an entertaining and informative way like normal. And a big thanks to everyone for listening to yesterday's show, the first Morning Joe of the season. A whole ton of viewers, and a bunch of you guys came up with some really good names for the new show, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Also, don't forget the college football betting show, up and running. It's on our YouTube channel, WagerTalk TV. It features myself, Dave Cokin, and Teddy Covers. We look at 15 college football games on the card for this coming weekend. And, of course, my favorite and the most famous show at WagerTalk.com, the Prez NFL Address. That show will be up Wednesday around 3 p.m. Eastern. Make sure to check it out. Kelly Stewart and myself take apart every single game on the board. Let's bring in the boys now. Dave Cokin, Rob Veno. Nice to have both of you. Dave, you're looking good in your pastels, your powder blue and your power pink.
Classic. I don't give a shit what it looks like.
Your humor is the best. Rob, what's going on, brother?
The week, Prez, once NFL and college football start, you guys know it's nonstop. So obviously a lot of weeks, some interesting stuff came out of week one, and we'll see what goes on in week two in college football.
Well, we're going to get straight to college football. Before that, I just want a quick mention. For some reason, and we saw this on the college football betting show slightly, there's a little lag between my guests' voices and their mouth. It's got to be internet issues, guys, and I'm calling my internet provider today. I'm even going to look to put in an ISDN line. We're going to get this right. Be patient. But at least the sound quality is much better than it was. There's so many moving parts with these shows, and I'm just too old to figure it all out. Boys, we're going to talk college football. We're going to do it right off the bat. LSU, Texas. LSU -6 right now with a total of 55. Dave, Teddy, and I took this game apart in great detail on the college football betting show, so check that out. Dave, I'll go to you first. I mean, look, I said it on the college football betting show. I think LSU is going to play at a very, very high tempo all year. And Texas, their defense did not play well last week against La Tech. Texas allowed 413 yards in total and 340 yards in the air. I think total is at 55, and that's really where I'm going in this game. I like over the total, my friend. Where are you going?
A slightly more condensed version that I'll show. But bottom line for me is I have LSU as my third, right behind Alabama and Clemson, Alabama, whichever. And they're right there with those teams. I still think Texas is, which is what I said going into the season, well aware of Tom Herman's amazing record as an unkidding. And the line 6, but LSU, I think they're going to win the game convincingly.
Yeah, and you mentioned, and Rob, will go to you. Dave mentioned Tom Herman, his record as a dog, 13-2 as a dog, as a head coach at Texas and Houston. And you want to go back to Ohio State and Iowa State, 21-2. I mean, that is just something you don't want to get in the way of. But, in the same regard, I think Texas, LSU is just a much better team than Texas. I think the game is going to be close, and I think 6 is around the right number, which is why I'm leaning on the total. Where are you going, Rob?
My power ratings made the game 5.5, which was a little stronger than the opener. Now we see it push to 6. Like you say, Prez, A couple of things here. Fundamentally, X's and O's wise, guys, it'll be interesting. Texas wound up in multiple situations last week playing 8 defensive backs, which may have been in a matchup. There's going to be all over the field. But they didn't do it. I think if you pick apart first half, second half with Texas, go through Louisiana Tech's 7 first half possessions. They get 170 total yards, but 2 missed 43-yard field goals, a fumble, an interception, 3 punts, no points, down 38-0. Ellinger comes out of the game in the fourth quarter, up 38-0. For LSU, tempo, you're right, it's going to be faster. They scored 6 TDs with him at quarterback last week in 350 or less time-wise for LSU. Georgia State, the defensive numbers are great for LSU, but they admitted that they started practicing for the February. If everybody has 7 months to prepare for triple option, you could shut it down. Interesting game. I too like LSU. Texas, a couple of quotes after that game were still need to learn the scheme. 8 new defensive starters, like I say, 8 DBs. There could be a lot of confusion in that secondary. So I kind of like LSU here as well, and possibly the total up and over. We've seen the 5 now.
He's Rob Veno, Dave Cokin with us. You're watching Morning Joe and the Pro. We are doing a name change. We're going to talk about that when we get back from this commercial break. Hey guys, it's the Prez. Thanks so much for watching. I can't thank you enough. Thanks for commenting and posting on our YouTube channel. I read them all. I get back to most of you guys. Real great promo today. 7 days of Dave Cokin or Rob Veno's plays. 7 days, all their plays, their baseball, their NFL, and their college football for $69. Just head over to sportsmemo.com for Rob Veno and use the promo code VENO69. That's VENO69. And for Dave Cokin, just head on over to WagerTalk.com and use the promo code Cokin69. That's $69 for 1 full week, all access to either Dave Cokin or Rob Veno. Rob, before we get into it, let's talk about what's going on. So, Morning Joe and the Pro, we're changing our name. We had a lot of really good suggestions yesterday. Right now, I think it's between the betting edge with the Prez, and I kind of like the presidential table. I know that doesn't necessarily conjure up betting, but I think it's a name people might remember. So we're tossing between the two. But really, the reason for the name change is me, you, and Joe Ranieri from sportsmemo.com are starting a new show. We're hoping to have it ready by Monday, but that's probably unlikely. So, especially considering I can't even get hold of Joe. So it's either going to start this Monday or the following Monday. Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about the show?
Well, it's a nice audience participation show, Prez. That's what I like about it. The 3 of us are going to go over the 5 prime time for the weekend. The Saturday ESPN 3:30 game, the marquee 8 o'clock game or 7 Monday Night Football. We're going to make consensus picks between the 3 of us. And then we're going to give the listeners a chance to make plays on the same 5 games and see if, in fact, they can come up with more winners than we can each
So the
week.
way it's going to work, and well said, Rob, the way it's going to work is we've got some contest software up at WagerTalk.com. It will at least be up in the next few days. We're going to pick the 5 big TV primetime games. We're going to come up with a consensus pick for each one of them. Those will be our 5 picks. Then you guys will get to log in over at WagerTalk.com and make your 5 picks. You'll get $10 of wager bucks just for making a pick. You'll get $25 of wager bucks if you tie us. You get $50 of wager bucks if you beat us. And you get $100 of wager bucks if you sweep the board and go 5-0. And I'm excited about this show. And it will start either this coming Monday or the following Monday. And the name of the show will be Pros vs. Joe's Primetime Edition, because we'll be looking at all the primetime games. Dave, you want to add anything to this?
No, it sounds like a lot of fun. I'll have to watch.
Okay, boys. Real quick. Ralph Michaels has a 5-unit play up in NFL. Last year, he ended the year, his last 22 plays at 67%. Teddy and I have a pick for the Bears-Packers game. Brian Leonard's card is up. Carmine has a big 5-unit play in baseball over at WagerTalk.com. So lots of stuff going on. Let's get right into it, boys. Dave Cokin, I go to you first. We're talking Major League Baseball. We're going to look at the San Francisco Giants game. San Fran minus 127. St. Louis minus 127 to minus 132 against San Fran. Waka versus Baumgartner. And, San Fran, they're done. They had a good chance, Dave, and now they are 9 back in the wild card spot. They are finito.
Over.
Sorry, Dave, talk to me.
No, well lately. That's why this number came lower than you would think on a Giants-Cardinals game. The Cardinals just rolling at 78-60 now, 18 games over 500. They are just playing tremendous baseball. Waka is not real trustworthy, but the Giants' offense, they don't have any. So if Waka just basically ball reasonably well and doesn't beat himself with beer, I don't know that St. Louis will get much either, but they keep finding ways to win games. There's not a chance in the world I'm stepping in front of this Cardinals Express right now.
Yeah, and I agree, and I especially agree, Dave, with what you're saying in regards to how many runs are scored. I really like the under in this game. It's a total of 8. St. Louis has gone under the total their last 2 games, 4 of their last 5, and 6 of their last 8 games. And San Fran, as you mentioned, they're really struggling to hit the ball. They put up a 0 spot and a 1 spot against St. Louis in their last 2 games. I think 8 might be a little high. I would be very surprised if they even get to 7 runs. So I'm looking at the under in this game. Rob Veno, what do you think?
The form, guys, the under would be a great way to go. There's been 18 hits in 2 games here, 5 runs scored in 2 games between these 2 teams. I think a couple of things here that need to be noted. Number one, for St. Louis, if they need a closer in the 9th inning, Carlos Martinez has thrown 4 consecutive days, which is really unheard of in baseball right now. So don't expect to see their closer. They're going to have to look somewhere else for the 9th inning if necessary. But the Madison Bumgarner issue is what probably keeps me off this game. If you just separate out his 10-star break, even at 5 quality starts, 1.46 ERA, 0.34 Ks to 5 walks, a 7-to-1 ratio. But you put him on the road since the break, 0 quality starts, 4 ERA goes up about 3 times as high, 1.29 whip goes up twice as high. The home runs go up, the walk up. So it's difficult. Bumgarner on the road. At home, he's been terrific. Probably for a lot of reasons mentioned. Perhaps the 8 and the way this series is going offensively, I would worry about St. Louis maybe innings 6 through 9. Just because Michael Wacha is not a guy that gives you much more than 5 innings every start.
Great stuff. Rob Veno from sportsmemo.com. You can get 7 days of all his plays for $69. Just head over to sportsmemo.com and use the promo code VENO69. Guys, let's talk about the Minnesota-Boston game. Boston is 5.5 back out of the wild card. They're not mathematically out of it yet, but it will be a tough road. And Minnesota is playing maybe the best baseball they've played this season. Boston finds themselves as around minus 140 with an over and under of 11. Dave, Minnesota has won 3 in a row. They've won 9 of their last 10. They are hitting the ball out of the stadium right now. They just put up a 6-4, an 8-7, a 13-10, an 8-3, a 7, and an 8 in their last 10 games. That is insanity. Boston, on the other hand, they're doing okay. I mean, they've won 4 of their last 6, but this team is running out of games. Where are you going in this one, my friend?
Against this because the Sox play their best ball when he's on the mound. They just win and win and win. Barrios has been off and on in the second half of the season. He's the number 1 starter for the Twins, but he doesn't always pitch like a number 1. And I think the Red Sox offense will get to him in this game. The Twins offense is just ridiculous. They've already broken the home run record with a month to go in the season. Still hit way more homers than anybody else. And they don't hit many cheapies either. I mean, Sano hit one last night into the camera well in right center. Just an absolute bomb. But I think Boston gets the win in this spot. Rodriguez is the guy actually I trust the most right now with the Red Sox. Usually keeps them in the game. And I think the Boston offense will do its job against Barrios tonight. Close game last night. The Twins hung on and won it. But I think the Red Sox even the series tonight.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with you. I think that's a great call. I mean, these pitchers have a very similar stat line throughout the season, but Barrios is definitely not pitching well in his last 3 starts. I'm with you. I lean on Boston, but I'm not going to get in the way of the Minnesota Twins right now. Rob Veno?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what Dave said, especially Boston as a play here tonight. You just can't bet against Eduardo Rodriguez. He's like a 4-leaf clover for this team. 21-5 the team is in his last 26 starts. And if you just want to narrow it down to Fenway Park, they're 11-2 in Fenway behind this guy. He doesn't allow a boatload of home runs, which may help here. I know Minnesota hits everybody, but for Rodriguez, gives up a home run about every 5 1/3, 5 2/3 innings. So if he can keep him a little bit quiet, that's good. I think the offenses kind of negate each other. Minnesota crushes lefties, Boston crushes righties. But the biggest difference for me, guys, is that Twins bullpen. Multiple guys overworked here. Tyler Duffy, back. Taylor Rogers, back-to-back nights. Trevor May, 25 pitches last night. If Sam Dyson gets the call, it'll be his 3rd and 4 nights and back-to-back to boot. That's like their arms if you keep Sergio Romo out of the mix. But that's a lot of relief they may have to call upon because, as Dave said, Barrios has been either lights out or he's been 10 sticks of dynamite. So I think Boston's probably the right side here tonight. Maybe even on the run line, you get a plus price.
All right, Rob Veno, Dave Cokin with us. Guys, thanks again for commenting and posting on our YouTube channel. I read them all. I try to comment to most of them. Dave, some guy had a great name for the show yesterday. Because yesterday we had Drew and Ralph Michaels on. He wanted to call the show Drew and Ralph and That Effin' Douchebag. What do you think? It's catchy, right?
Yeah, it's awful long. I think it'd have to be.
Maybe we'll get rid of effing. Maybe we'll just go with like the boys and the douche.
Could be a hit.
You know, the craziest thing is, Dave, if I could be like anything in the world, like the top 10 things that I could be, I would pick a douche as one of them. I mean, this is a waterfall that opens the flower of a woman and cleans her in all the areas that you would want. What a compliment. I mean, I am a walking douche. How does it get better than that?
Can't top that.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything on that.
Okay, boys, quick commercial break. We're right back with 2 NFL games. Guys, this is probably the best promo I'm going to give out this week, period, and you'll hear it in the NFL presidential address with Kelly as well. Bobby Liggs, who was the number 1 handicapper in NFL last year at both WagerTalk and Sports Memo? The answer, Bobby Liggs. 49-28. 49-28. in all of his NFL plays last year. 8-2 in his NFL 5% plays last year. 49-28 in total. 75% profit. 8-2 in his 5-star plays. His regular package is $7.95. It's yours for $3.99. Use the promo code Bobby, BOBBY 399. That's Bobby 399 over at WagerTalk.com. Boys, it's the douche. How are you?
I'm just going to call you that. You beat me to it.
That's my new name. LA Rams, Carolina. Let's talk about this game first. I find this to be a fascinating game, and the reason is, and I'm actually struggling to bet it. We had LA come out with a consensus opening line of 3. It's been bet down to 2 at some spots, but 2.5 mainly. And we have an over and under of 50. And, for me, it's like, is it that easy? The Rams are one of the best teams in football. Carolina struggled last year towards the end of the year. They're still missing wide receivers. Could it be that easy? Just take the best team. They're less than a field goal. I don't think so. I think Carolina is going to be better than we expect. And I think the Rams are going to start off slow. I mean, Dave, you can talk to this, but if you go back and you look at teams that lost in the Super Bowl, I think they're 1-15 against the spread in the last 16 years if they're playing away. And they are playing away. I'll tell you flat out, I'm nervous to take the Rams here. I cannot take Carolina. But I do like the over in this game. I think you're going to see 30 points on average minimum by the Rams. And I think Carolina is going to stretch the field. I think with McCaffrey coming out of the backfield, I think they're going to load up the box because Carolina is all about Cam running and McCaffrey running. And I think that's going to open up the slot and open up some deep routes. I like over the total of 50 in this game. That's where I'm going. Dave, what do you think?
I'm not as sold on the over, but I'm not a totals guy, so I'll defer to you there. It's not the trend. Okay, I just don't care that much about trends. But I think Carolina, you can pretty much throw out the end of last season with the Panthers. I mean, they were really beat up at that point, and key guys just were either operating at well under 100% or not operating at all. The Rams should be fresh as a daisy here because they didn't play anybody in preseason. Same pattern as last year. It worked for them, so it's tough to argue against that. So for me, it's just about the numbers. And what have I got here? Let's see, 4, 5. I have the Rams 1 on my power ratings, and that's an overall power rating because I factor a number of different things in and basically had 3 different sets of power ratings. But I come up with the Rams 1. The line's 2.5, so that indicates a slight value on Carolina, but not a play for me because I still got the Rams winning the game, and I'm only getting 2.5 points. So there's really not enough wiggle room there. If forced to play it, I would take Carolina.
Rob Veno?
Yeah, guys, the West Coast to East Coast 1 o'clock travel is always made a bunch of. I don't know that it stands up as well as it has or as well as it did a while ago. So I'm going to disregard that here. But the Carolina situation, every attempt to strengthen that defense during the offseason. And I think what we saw out of Sean McVay's offense and Jared Goff at the end of last year, especially in the Super Bowl, if you can get some pressure up the middle, just like any other team, you can cause Jared Goff problems. And that front four for Carolina, as stands today, is Gerald McCoy, pickup from Tampa Bay, Dontari Poe, K'Wan Short, and Mario Addison. The pressure up the middle is pretty good here. Linebacking core, Bruce Irvin off the edge. I think they're going to be improved defensively, which is where they had to make the biggest strides. Offensively, Prez, you mentioned it. Christian McCaffrey really isn't stopped by anybody. Cam, if he's healthy, I know there's some question about the health here, but I think he's okay. to go here. So I see points from that side. They add Chris Hogan, which might be a little under the radar addition to the receiving core here for Cam Newton. And he gets Greg Olsen back, his security blanket at tight end off injury.
Although we've been saying that for 3 years.
Yeah, he might get hurt in the first quarter, right? You never know with him.
That's the problem with Newton as well. I think he's okay despite the foot thing, but he's starting to get a little fragile in terms of when he gets hit, he gets hurt. And that's going to be a concern with Carolina all season long.
Yeah, they've got to protect him, Dave. There's no question. That offensive line was shaky last year. Rams side, Prez, I think you're on with the offense. I mean, they didn't show well the last 2 playoffs. In New Orleans, they really didn't play good offensively whatsoever. In the Super Bowl, they were a mess.
But you know, let's call it straight. Gurley was basically out.
Right.
Okay,
and it makes a huge difference.
He was there, but he was not Gurley.
To start the season, they've got Cooper Kupp back. And I think Goff, without him, it hurt him last year in the end, which was some effect of the bad offense. And they made some moves on defense too, guys. They bring in Clay Matthews. I know he's a little long in the tooth, but leadership-wise in that linebacking core, great. They bring in Eric Weddle, long in the tooth, but leadership-wise in the secondary, great. It's a tough call for me either way here, to tell you the truth. I haven't gotten to a side or total in this game yet. I did look over Prez initially. Still working on that, but we'll see how this goes. This is a really interesting game.
Boys, we talk one more game. Detroit against Arizona. Detroit finds themselves as a road favorite of -2.5. That is an anomaly. The over and under is 46.5. And I think really what's very important here is that Arizona have both their starting cornerbacks out, injury and suspension. I think Detroit is going to be a better team than most people think. With Patricia in his second year, they're starting to get a little bit of his identity there. They've loaded up on defense. I think their wide receiver core, although no heroes, is deep. And I think the same with their running game. No heroes, but deep. Riddick coming out of the backfield as well will create some space. And Matthew Stafford, no hero, but good enough. I'm struggling in this game too. I think Detroit's the better team here. And, I mean, bottom line for me is my lean is on Detroit, but I don't think I'm going to get to the window in this game. Dave Cokin, any thoughts on this football game?
Well, I definitely am not playing the game. I think the Lions are probably around an average football team, which unfortunately, the bad news for them is they're in the wrong division, because the other 3 teams in the division are all above average: Green Bay, Chicago, and Minnesota. So they look like a last-place team. I guess the bright thing you can say is they might be the best last-place team in the NFL, but you just wonder how that's going to impact them later in the season. But for now, they should be a confident football team going out there, and they didn't really do anything in the preseason, so they're ready to play some real football here. The Cardinals have a multitude of problems: first-time coach, first-time quarterback, injury or suspension issues. I think their home field advantage is one of the least in the NFL. So I don't really have anything positive to say about Arizona. And all that said, I'm still not going to lay the points here with the Lions. You're looking at 2.5, probably 3 by game day, or at least 2.5 will be juiced. Like 2.5 -15, -20, -25. I really don't know. All I can tell you is I'm not betting on Arizona.
Yeah, Rob, I mean, it's funny, we're all 3 old guys and we're set in our ways. We see Detroit every year with Stafford rolling out, decent looking team, average, little better than average, and yet we can't bet them. We're looking at Arizona. As Dave said, I mean, knew everything. This team couldn't move the ball in the preseason. If this was Baltimore or, even Washington, we would probably take them in this spot.
No.
Not Washington.
I would take. If you give me Washington and Arizona, I'm taking the Cardinals. I have the Redskins as my worst
but the point I'm making here is Detroit's the right play. And we're all too scared to make it because they are Detroit. Rob?
Well, I think one of two things is going to happen here, guys, for Cliff Kingsbury. Either A, he's sitting on a powder keg of an offense that's going to explode, or B, it's going to end up like, like Geraldo Rivera's search for Al Capone's secret vaults, where he found absolutely nothing, a giant dud. They claim they did nothing, but play vanilla offense all preseason long. Larry Fitzgerald kind of tipped their hand in a sideline interview during one of the preseason games where he said at practice they run a play every 13 seconds. He said the tempo is incredible. If there's a believable guy in the NFL, it's Larry Fitzgerald. So I'll take him at his word, which creates a lot of things fundamentally here. In the Arizona Heat, can Detroit's defensive line keep up if they're running a play every 13 seconds? Now, I know New England runs some tempo, and maybe Patricia could lean on Belichick, but nobody runs tempo like that, a play every 13 seconds. Do they have to play 6 DBs, 7 DBs, and sacrifice the pass rush if Arizona moves the football? It's an interesting thing here to see whether or not the Kingsbury offense is going to work. It's all guesswork for guys like us. We have to kind of either get out ahead in front of the train or hold back, and by the time you make the play, week 2, week 3, it's too late, right? We see this number come crashing down total-wise. I think I saw a 46.5 before we went on air here, and the opener was 48, I think. So we're seeing a lot of under money here, guys, and so people probably expect what they saw in preseason out of the Arizona offense. I'm not so sure. Kyler Murray was funny. In the game against the Raiders afterwards, he went up and asked Antonio Brown, why'd you guys have to blitz me every play? And Antonio Brown said, that's what you're going to see with no backs in the backfield. Kingsbury's accustomed to that. I'm more inclined to think that they're going to move the football, guys. And as you two mentioned, Detroit's going to move it too against those backup CBs for Arizona. I don't know that Arizona's got enough pass rush. Kerryon Johnson can maybe balance things out for Detroit. I'm still considering the over here because I'm going to get on the side of Kingsbury's offense is going to work maybe against this team, and then maybe 6 games down the road it doesn't work anymore, but we'll see.
He's Rob Veno from sportsmemo.com, Dave Cokin, the legend himself from WagerTalk.com. Guys, that is an outstanding show. Can't thank you enough. Everybody, just to summarize the show real quick, 7 days of Rob Veno for $69. Sportsmemo.com. Use the promo code VENO69. 7 days of Dave Cokin. WagerTalk.com. All Access Pass. Use the promo code Cokin69. Bobby Liggs' entire NFL season. Use the promo code Bobby399. $399 for his entire NFL season. That could be the best promotion we've ever offered on this show. As well, I'd love your opinions and thoughts on the new show Rob and myself are starting next Monday called Joe vs. the Pro or Pro vs. the Joe. We'll figure that out later. Prime time. And yeah, tomorrow, make sure to check in. Tony Finn with us as well as somebody else I forgot. And Friday, Marco and Jeff Oskheim from Oskheim Sports. Boys, thank you very much. Like always, leave the show with a bicep pump. Prez, out.